All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, I'd like to welcome you guys to the AFC podcast. Well, you also know that I'm a DJ, and we've also done a handful of interviews. This gentleman that you see here has actually been on the show before. We're bringing him back, and I want to say thank you so much, bro, for being patient with my schedule and your time and all of that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cory Ricks. You want to say what's up to the people?
What's up, family? How y'all doing? God bless you all. Jay, I'm just honored to be back with you, man. Thank you for giving me your platform to share with you on it, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor, man. And for those who don't know, would you kind of give them a reintroduction to yourself, if you would?
Absolutely. This is your cousin, your nephew, your brother, your uncle, Cory Ricks. I'm a empowerment teacher slash pastor, recording artist, an entrepreneur, and I just love God and I love His people, and I do my best to encourage others and be there for God's people.
Yeah, straight up and down, man. And so, really, kind of the way that me and you got introduced to each other is through a brother and a friend by the name of QB. So for those who might not know who that is, he is a individual who used to be associated with No Limit Records, which is kind of how I gained interest from the beginning. But I got to talking with him, and he ended up introducing me to you. Then I ended up hearing some of your music, and then I was like, yo, this dude's got really nice music. So, like as far as your music, do you kind of want to tell people, because we've already had a conversation about kind of the origins of your music. What do you have going on, and what projects do you have coming out? Like, I know you just had a song that just released.
Yes, sir. The latest single is I Love My Savior featuring Keedy Black. QB and myself, we have a record company called Kingdom Wealth Music, and we'll be releasing the first album of mine on Kingdom Wealth Music called Music with a Message. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Music with a message. We just want to make sure that we give young people a different alternative to music. And one thing that we are so focused on is because I do believe young people will listen to positive music, but let's just keep it all the way real, Jay. It has to be hot. And I think the problem with a lot of people that try to do positive music or Christian rap, it's kind of corny sometimes. Not that the message is not good, but sometimes the production, the sound quality, the mix and masters are a little bit off. And what we try to do is make sure that we cross every T and dot every I as it relates to making sure the music has a message, but it's also hot, for the consumer to be able to enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah, straight up. Now, with this song, I Love My Savior, this is a song that I've been playing, I would say, maybe the past week or so, and I play it at the end of each one of my streams. A lot of people have heard that and they like it, and I try to also make sure and put your link there so they can know to direct themselves to your actual link for your song, so that way y'all can get credit for the views and all of that type of stuff. But I like that song. How does the concept for this song kind of come about? Like, how did y'all end up putting that particular song together?
Man, actually, I was in the studio with my producer, Coney, and I was humming this chorus in my head all that day. And I just was having a little fun with it. And so Coney told me after I was humming it to him, he said, man, why don't you go in the booth and lay that, and I'll build a beat around it. And I didn't know he was going to build that beat. That's what we call that type of production in New Orleans, that beat. I didn't realize he was going to make that beat around it. And he did. We actually made the song in 30 minutes. Once I heard the record, I decided that I wanted Keedy Black on it because she's a young woman of God, and she's focusing on making sure that she does her ministry in a unique and a special way. And I thought it was only right our brands coincide. And once she got on it, I just thought it took it to another level. But I tell people this, Jay, do not almost twerk, because the beat is so nice. You can almost twerk to it. These young women, they can almost twerk. So I warn people, it's going to make you move, it's going to make you dance. But I did not make it for people to twerk on, but to just enjoy themselves, because I didn't want the young believer to feel like they was missing out on anything in the kingdom.
Very interesting, because I'm gonna tell you, it's definitely got that bounce. It's classic New Orleans as far as the cadence. So I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. The message I think is even more profound. You know, again with it coming from a Christian basis, and like I said, I think that's part of what's been missing from Christian music. Very few people have really been able to kind of take it and make it popular in something that's like palatable for a large group of people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I agree. I don't knock any Christian rapper or any positive rapper at all. As a matter of fact, it's the contrary. I support them more than they realize. It's just that I know that with my background, with doing the music my way, I just wanted to bring something different to the table that had great content, but also great production. That was my biggest focus as I was making this new album.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I kind of want to take one step backwards, even though we've already discussed it. Your song "Can't Hold Me."
Sure.
That's still one of my favorite songs, just because it has so. I'm like a bass, a bass person. So you know, with the speakers in the trunk and all of that stuff, and it just really has that nice rumble that I like. But the message I thought was just as good. So let me ask you this with regard to, because I know you said you have an upcoming project, right? As far as the album.
Yes, sir.
So with regard to the upcoming album, can we look forward? If you don't, I hope you don't take no disrespect to this with me calling them slappers. You got any more songs like that coming that are similar to those two?
Man, I have so much on this album. I made some songs with like a reggae type vibe. I made a lot of storytelling songs. I made my intro is just bananas in my opinion. It's me just raw rap because I wanted to make sure that the intro set the tone for the entire album. I have things that you can dance to. Something like everything that I made for me is it transcends gender, it transcends race, it transcends age, because I wanted to make sure a 4-year-old child could enjoy it as well as somebody that's 80 years old. I wanted to make it with a message and just to whereas people could enjoy it and genuinely someone you riding in your car with your nephew or you riding in the car with your little cousin that's in elementary school, you don't have to turn it down because the music is good for all ages and all genres.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So, with this new coming project, would you mind kind of giving us like the if you've already chosen a name for it and everything? Can you kind of tell us about the name, what it means to you, and when roughly do you plan to release it?
We're planning to release it, first of all, around the summer. I came up with the name Music with a Message because I wanted everybody to know what it represents. And I always was one, anytime I made an album, it was always about exactly what the title was. My last album was called I Made It. The one before that, it was Man with a Vision. The one before that was Man on a Mission. So I always made the album around the actual title so that I can capture the time that we're in. Because I think that's what a good album is. I think a good album is capturing the time that you're currently in, as well as making it kind of like a roller coaster of emotions, of melodies, and of tempos. And I just absolutely enjoyed making this album. I promise you, I believe it's my best work to date. And I did everything that I've been wanting to do. I sung on it a little bit. I rapped on it a lot. I just put a good blend of every gift that I have into the album because I wanted everybody to know that I literally put my all into it.
Yeah, awesome. And shout out to QB. He made sure I got your banner, so I did post that just right below your visual right here, so that way people can hopefully find it a little bit easier. So of course, whenever we post this, I'll make sure that everybody has the links. Links will be in the description box to be able to not only find you, to be able to find your social media, but you guys also have a clothing line, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to kind of give them some info about your clothing line?
So the clothing line name is Christian Royalty. And Jay, it's been such a blessing, especially as of late, because we released these new shirts with God Got Us on the shirt, and we have more orders than shirts right now. They've just been booming and doing so well. And I want people to know when they're sewing into me, they're sewing into something bigger than me and them. It's something, because what I truly have a vision for is turning Christian royalty clothing into Christian Royalty Academy, because I want to build schools for young people, because I don't feel as though the world should educate kingdom young people. So we have Christian royalty in order to help fund everything else, and also so that ultimately we can open up schools.
Wow. Okay, that's a very, very nice plan. Definitely, in the grand scheme of things, I know that as far as us with the AFC, we'll definitely do what we can to try to support and just bring you guys more attention, to be able to share your message, share your links, or whatever the case is, and hopefully at some point we can kind of use that to kind of create a bigger network to be able to spread this greater good message.
Yes, sir. I mean, Just Jay, man, you've been such a big help. I'm eternally grateful for you. I don't take our interviews for granted. I don't take the time that we share this platform for granted. It's a blessing to me. And I want you to know you're going to be blessed beyond your wildest dreams, just because you're sowing into something bigger than yourself and myself, because we need positive messages. And that's why I love your channel, because you always have positive messages. I love your enthusiasm about everything that you talk about, because I can tell your passion, and the same passion that I have for music, the same passion that I have for ministry and people. I see that on your channel, and I want to commend you for all of the work that you've done, because you're doing a phenomenal job, bro. And I support you. QB supports you. We back you just as well as you're backing us.
Man, it's an absolute honor. Like I say, I mean that definitely reciprocates for sure. Because I definitely feel the same way about y'all, what y'all represent, where you come from, where you're at, where I know y'all are gonna be at, in the near future. You know what I mean? Let me ask you this. Let me divert the conversation just for a moment, because when we're talking about making a change, and there's so much going on, and I don't want to get too deep, but it was a couple of things that I wanted to kind of touch on to kind of get your insight, because I can be, I guess, a little more general with my first question, and the second question I'll be a little more specific. But in general, because we advocate for children first, I believe that babies' lives matter, and I call us the new BLM. You know what I mean? Because I think that that's really what we should be living our lives for, is to create a legacy, to try to make things better for the ones coming after us. You know what I mean? But I feel like, as far as the importance that people have put on the children, it's really kind of been put on the back burner for a lot of the things that are going on in the social world, when it comes to things like police brutality, when it comes to things like celebrity news and things like that. Do you feel like the world has really kind of put our children and our babies on the back burner? How do you feel about that?
I absolutely think they do that. And on the flip side, absolutely think that the messages that they do send is trying to lead our children in the wrong direction. For instance, my two daughters, they love rainbows, right? And me, I don't judge people who are in the LGBT community. I don't judge them. I actually preach the gospel to them. I do the contrary, because I want them to know that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So I don't judge them, because I know what it is to struggle in certain areas. But God gave Noah the rainbow as a sign that he'll never allow it to flood that way. And yet they're using the rainbow, knowing that children are going to like the rainbow. They're using this as their logo, so to speak. And I think it's very misleading. And children are always put to the back burner. I'm talking with a lot of times education, especially in the African-American community here in New Orleans. Some of our children suffer from school and education. It's a corrupt system more often than not. And I've been teaching young people, I'm all about education. I'm totally about education, but I do believe that our young people have gifts on the inside of them that they need to display on the outside. Because the one thing I believe in my heart is that you can get fired from a job, but you can never get fired from your gift. And I believe that God has gifted everybody with something that's valuable that we need. And I believe that even our children, they're alive for a reason in this time in history. And so I'm so about you. That's all I do. I love working with you at the church. That's my focus, to work with you so that we can give them the good information and the good news so that they can succeed.
Straight up. And I definitely appreciate that. So the second part that I guess I wanted to kind of just get your thoughts on is, it's a big hot button issue right now: police brutality.
Yeah.
I have my personal opinions about it, and I think I might have shocked some people because with the George Floyd situation is bringing about. It looks like it's going to end up being four separate trials. One of them being Derek Chauvin. He apparently is one of the first to go on trial, and he just recently got convicted on all three counts for his participation. So I tried to be very fair, and I try to be very careful and thoughtful about what I'm saying, because I know that people are very sensitive in these times. But I'm also a very fair person, and I think that people thought that, I guess maybe, I don't really know where they're getting it from my channel, but I guess they thought I was going to maybe speak one way. But I'm a very, very fair person in a lot of different ways, even to the situation that happened right after the verdict of the young 15-year-old girl having that deadly encounter with the police. But I looked at both of those situations, and I always judge things separately. You can never just bundle your public servants, your officers, and all of that into one thing and say this is how we are to judge them, because they all are individuals. They all have their own mind. They all make their own choices, and if they do anything wrong, they're going to do that time by themselves. They're not going to do that as a collective. You know what I mean? And I think that can be a very dangerous thing for us to do also, because if we are to put that type of judgment on people, it's going to come back on us when it's time for us to be judged. Let me also throw this out there. I just thought about this because you know you're a good Christian man. You believe in the good book. So I'm pretty sure you could also confirm this. And I've been trying to teach people when people say you're not supposed to judge. And I'm like, actually, you are supposed to judge. Because the Bible actually says, judge lest thou be judged. And it does not mean do not judge. It means judge in the fashion that you want people to judge you by. Am I right or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement with you with that. See, judging in the sense of counting somebody out as hopeless, that's one thing. But judging in the sense of discerning, that's another thing. I don't go uptown in New Orleans where I used to hang, and where they're still selling crack, they're still selling dope, and I'll spend all day around there. Why? Because I discern that that's not a good spot for me to be, because I have children to raise. I have other people that's dependent upon me in my church and my family. There's people that's dependent upon me. So I have to discern that situation and realize that's not a good place for me to be in. I think with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, what some people don't understand is we're not saying that we want to be treated special. We're just saying that we want to be treated fairly. And that's so important for us with the George Floyd situation. You know, this brother had his knee on George Floyd's neck for what, 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes. So at some point, you have to be conscious of, I've had my knee on his neck for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. I don't think Michael Phelps can stay underwater that long to be able to hold his breath all that time. So with law enforcement, we're expecting them to have a certain respect for people, because you are the people that's supposed to protect and serve, not to kill. Now, with that being said, I don't believe every single police officer is bad or evil. Just like I don't believe every doctor is bad or evil. I don't believe every judge is bad or evil, but there are those that needs, LeBron James said it best, accountability. Mm-hmm. We have to hold them accountable. And not only that particular gentleman in the George Floyd situation, but the cops that were around him. Like, could they have not said something? Could they have not said, man, you're doing too much? What are you doing?
That was my whole thing. Yeah.
So that was the disturbing part for me. Not only what he did, but also them standing around watching what he's doing and not saying anything about it. So this thing of accountability is very, very important. And I think police officers at the end of the day, because I have some in my family, they're trying to make it home to their families as well. But at the same time, they really need to be trained on how to conduct themselves properly and properly assess a situation. Because, like with the young lady, 15 years old, that got killed, and from what I heard, she had a knife in her hand, but I don't think she was going to the police. She wasn't going to the police. And for her to get shot up like that, that was heartbreaking because I have daughters. And if that was one of my daughters, I don't know where my mind would be right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And this is why I say, maybe I'll hold this off for maybe a different show because I was actually talking to a friend of mine. She knows who she is, and shout out to her. But I was trying to give her a fair assessment as to what I thought, what transpired, because it happened really, really quick. And I watched the video myself, and everybody. Well, let me pause on that. Let me say this about the George Floyd thing. I always ask myself with that situation, how many monkeys does it take to screw in a light bulb? And if you ask me, it was too many people, too many officers on the scene to be able to not bring one man in. However you need to bring him in, he should have been brought in alive. He was I guess they caused his death. Their actions led up to that. And like I say, I think that's where it needs to start and end when it comes to, people and their opinions. You know what I'm saying? As far as making it seem like race played it. And because my whole thing is I believe it's a very dangerous thing for us to constantly play the race card, because in America, I believe that us as far as citizens, and then on the other side, there's government, law enforcement, and all of them. That's a separate side because they aren't actually citizens anymore. We as the citizens have so much more in common. So for us to continue to keep trying to create these social divides, I think it actually makes it worse. How, when it comes to us being neighbors to each other, when it comes to us being, just people to each other. Because it harms us in customer service. It harms us in school. It harms us in so many different ways when we continue to keep looking at the things that make us different as opposed to understanding everything that we have in common. Even with the police. I mean, they have families, they have lives, they want to go home the same way that we do. And like I said, I think that's where the divide continues to keep making things bad for us, is that we continue to keep focusing on the nuances that make us different as opposed to what should bring us together.
And see, Jay, television is going to do exactly that. It's going to television. And it's the narrative that they put out there is ridiculous, in my opinion. Because if there's not any other ways that we're alike, we've all sinned at least once and we all gonna die. So that puts us all on common ground. And when we begin to operate with more understanding, with more compassion, with more love, it'll be a better place for us, because we have so much that connects us than we do that divides us. And it's funny, I think racism in itself is a learned behavior. Yes. I don't think anyone is born and just say, oh, I hate this person, or I don't like that person. So we have to know that we have to get past that. It's so petty and minute, because I have my two daughters go to a school that's predominantly white. And those little white kids and my little African-American daughters, my little black daughters, they all play together. They all want to be together. They can't get enough of each other. Why? Because it's a Christian school and they're teaching them godly principles. These kids don't have an idea what racism is. The only way they'll know that is if they're taught that. And True. That's where the problem lies.
And you know what? And I've told people this, even with me raising my daughter, and they ask, and I've had some people ask me like the type of things that I teach her, and I'm like, I don't feel like it's so important for me to teach her the history of slavery, the history of Jim Crow and all of that stuff, because I'm just like, where is that going to get her? Is that going to bring her to a positive place, or is that going to give her, like so many people, a victimhood mentality? And I don't ever want her to be a victim. I don't ever want her to have an inkling of an excuse for not succeeding in what it is that she wants to do. I want her to think that, you know what, there's something I could have did different to make myself successful. And I think that, small things like that. I'm a different person. Everybody's different. So I try not to, I just try to give my insight. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't try to force my beliefs on anybody. But let me say this. I can say this about that situation with the 15-year-old girl. Let's take out this white cop shooting a black kid. Let's take all of that out of the equation, and let's back up about 5-10 minutes prior to that even coming about. And you'd have to ask yourself, why were these beautiful black sisters out there fighting with each other to begin with? And that's where my father comes into play. And shout out to my dad if he watches this. But my father has always taught me to be accountable for where I cause myself to get in certain situations, because you have to think so far ahead to not put yourself in bad places. And I thought about that, and I'm just like, what could they have been if they were this age, 15, 16-year-olds, teenagers, whatever it is. The fact that they were out there fighting and weapons were produced and all of this stuff. I'm like, how do we get there? Like, why do we not see each other as brothers and sisters and of the same ilk, of the same neighborhood, neighbors, classmates, whatever it is? And like I said, I think that's part of where, even if I don't believe in Christianity, and I always say this, even if you, like I might not believe in Buddha, but if Buddha causes you to be a better person, then I'm all for it. If Christianity causes you to be a better person, then I'm all for whatever religion does for you that's positive. And I'm just like, I just think that we really need to sit down and look at ourselves a bit more and analyze these situations deeper and ask ourselves, where does all this hate and anger and fighting and animosity, not only what does it do for us, but where does it even come from?
Yeah. And see, that's important for me. I drive a Nissan, right? And the interesting thing, if it were to ever break, I'm taking it back to Nissan. The reason that I'm taking it back to Nissan is because they're the manufacturer of the car. And so if it breaks down, I'm more than sure that they can fix it and diagnose the problem, and also probably give me back the original parts that it had,
Right.
if they have to replace it. And so for me, that's how I view life. I tell people all the time, I'm one of those people. Now, this ain't biblical. This is Cory Ricks philosophy. I know we're in a starving generation, right? And I'm a person like this. I'll take you to a restaurant. I don't even mind paying for your meal, but I will never, ever force you to eat, because I think the one thing that we have as people is choice.
Yes.
We all have a choice. And I think that's your human right to be able to decide. And I'll never be the forceful person that'll try to make you believe what I believe, because I believe in impacting without imposing.
Yeah.
I think I heard Dr. Miles say that, impact without imposing. But the thing is we have to get back to our creator when our lives break down. And so, I tell people all the time, I've studied the last 5 years of my life, probably 6, on the 5 major world religions. And I wanted to know about other people's faith so that I can really have honest dialogue with them. And I can tell them, not in an attempt to be right, but in an attempt to shed light so that hopefully they can find truth. Because when we get our opinions and when we get our feelings out of everything and we just exclusively seek truth, that's when we're going to get somewhere. And there's one thing that I believe that Jesus said, that he made an exclusive claim. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That was an interesting thing that he said. And I think we all need to take notice of that, because reality is, he's the only one that I believe never made a mistake. So if we're going to take life advice, I'd rather take life advice from the one who knows life best and who lived life best and didn't make a mistake. It's almost like if I'm a basketball player, right? Um, and I want to learn how to shoot the jump shot, exclusively the jump shot. And I have access to Steph Curry or I have access to Bill Winnington. I
Hmm.
think anybody with sense is going to go to Steph Curry. Why? Because he's the best at it. So when it comes to life, I submit to people. I don't force them, but I submit to people. I chose Christ because I know he's Savior, because I know he was best at it. And if they choose differently, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty. Okay, go ahead. Oh, well.
And that's okay because, like I said, I'm not a person that's into manipulation, but into persuasion. And people have choice at the end of the day.
And I'm gonna tell you, that's a beautiful thing about choice. And I don't know why. I'm not really like a big movie person, but I love when they talk about choice in the Matrix, and because I think it's relevant the way that they explain it, because we're here to understand why we made the choice. So even if we believe that God is omnipotent and He knows everything that's going to happen and all of that type of stuff, so that would actually mean that we're here to understand why we made that choice, as far as like the way that we live our life or whatever the case is. But I think more than anything, it just feels good to make good choices, do good things, be a good person, leave a good legacy, leave a good taste in people's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Just everything about good is just good. You know what I'm saying?
You're
And so,
absolutely right.
yeah,
It definitely does feel good to do good. This is another thing I want to say too. Um, Me as an individual, and I believe real Christians worldwide, I can speak for them when I say this. I don't dislike people of different faiths. I love Muslims. I love Hindus. I love Buddhists. I love uh, Jews. You know what I'm saying? I love all of those people. It's not the people that I have the problem with, but I know from my study I don't like certain ideologies.
mm,
So the attack is never on a person, but on the actual ideology, because I don't want God's sheep to get misled or to be consumed by wolf like ideologies, knowing that God has entrusted me to be one of his earthly shepherds. So my job is to protect sheep and also keep them away from wolves. And but I just like to tell people I love all people. There's not a human being on earth that I don't love. I just don't like all ideologies because I care about people getting their salvation. Their salvation is important to me. And I know from all of my studies, most religious systems are works systems, what you can do. But the problem with the work system, in my opinion, is every day you have to worry about doing 51% things right and 49% things wrong. And then another problem is I told one of my Muslim brothers, I say, okay, if you like the work system, let's go skydiving. I'm going to jump out with a parachute on, and you jump out flapping your arms and kicking your legs.
mm.
See, when you have to depend on you to keep you alive, you're going to be blood soup. But me, I'm going to just pull a string and depend on the parachute to keep me alive. And so I'll rather live by the grace system. Now, with that being said, I don't think that grace is a free pass to just do what you want to do and live how you want to live. But I don't think grace is an all access pass to sin. But what it does do is give me the ability to win.
I like that. I like that a lot, man. And look, again, I want to say definitely I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being so patient, especially with my schedule. Do you kind of
Sure.
want to remind them again about your song coming up and your upcoming project?
So y'all, what's coming up is music with a message. I just want to inspire you all, give you something that you can enjoy, but at the same time that's not tainted. And the reason I say that is because I was in the music business years ago, and they asked me to do devil music, and I was crushed in my soul. And so now I have a passion of educating our young people and also giving them music that has a message, but that's also hot. The newest single now, or shall I say, the latest single is "I Love My Savior" featuring Keely Black. It's on all social media. I'm sorry, all platform musical outlets, as well as my last single featuring PJ Morton entitled Can't Hold Me. So it's your boy Cory Ricks. Make sure y'all connect with me. My social media is I am Cory Ricks. That's my So I am Cory Ricks. That's my Twitter. That's my Instagram. And I am Cory Ricks at Gmail is a way that you can email me if you have questions, because I don't mind sitting down talking to people. And I'm one of those people. I'll sit down and have lunch with you because I really just love and care for people.
Yeah, straight up, man. And again, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Also, shout out to my brother QB, like I say, for helping us to make these connections, for us to be talking right now, to be, spreading your message, spreading your music, and all of that good stuff, man. Like I said, I'm just honored to be a part of it all, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, and thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, you guys go check out his single. We're getting ready to play I Love My Savior. Y'all make sure and go check that out on his page. I am Cory Ricks. I will make sure and post a link so you guys can find all of that stuff. This is your boy DJ Just J, and we're signing out, man. Peace.
Yeah.
I love my Savior with all of my heart. Never leave nor forsake me when times are hard. He laid his life down, I know he loved me.
Pony, the producer.
Yes, I am delivered and I am set free. I love my Savior with all of my heart. Never leave nor forsake me when times are hard. I know the Lord let me know. I know the Lord let me know. And I am so free. I know the Lord let me know. I used to be a street dude, posted on the corner, toting big pistols, smoking that marijuana. Hustling all day, chilling on dollar shit. Witnessed the murder on the block in broad day. But I promise you that ain't nobody snitching. Ramo try to school me, but I ain't never listen. I ain't hearing nothing, I'm just trying to get $1 million. And the Lord touched my soul, now I'm on another mission. I need the Lord, let me Lord, save me when times are hard. I need the Lord, let me Lord, but God still love me. Yeah, I got some problems, but he still love me. I know I ain't perfect, but the Lord still love me. Yeah, he still love me. Said I know he still love me. Know I got some issues, but God still love me. Yeah, I got some problems, but man, he still love me. Know I ain't perfect, but the Lord still love me. The Lord still love me. I know God still love me. Lord, let me, Lord, let me, let me, let me. Yeah. It's hard being black, cause they judge you by your color. Never get to know your story, judge a book by its cover. Trust me, I feel your struggle, little brother. I'm from the gutter, we gotta learn to support instead of killing each other. Listen up, America, all we want is justice. Police steady killing us, or either they arrest us. I'm just speaking my mind, I ain't trying to be violent. Oppression is depressing, no more being silent. Gotta take a stand with this power in my hand. And I'm serious as a heart attack, oh no, I ain't playing. Strategizing, I plan, hope you hear what I'm saying. Won't be treated how we treated like a man, I'm just saying. Speak for those in poverty, we won't see equality. To say it can't be done, that's robbery, don't lie to me. They could change laws, speak it into existence. Divided we fall, together we gon' make a difference. Listen.
All of this time, all we've been through, still no love coming from you. Ooh, but you can't hold me no more. Now we're fed up, what you gon' do? You can't say I didn't warn you, but you can't hold me.
We ain't gotta take a life, we don't need another loss. We gon' get our point across without breaking the law. Boycott businesses, hit them in their pockets. I bet they get their mind right, cause they just wanna profit, man. All these years later, can't believe this is happening. Homie took a knee and they blackball Kaepernick like king. I'ma speak for all the Trayvon Martins, all the Ahmaud Arbors. No matter what it costs me, gotta stay motivated. Focus, get educated to be treated like we less. Damn, why we created the head, not the tail, above, not beneath. Ain't just speaking for myself, man. This one for the streets. This ain't about race. Nope, I ain't no racist. Heart full of love, but some people full of hatred. Something gotta shake, baby, something gotta change. Don't be looking down on me, put respect on my name. I'm just saying.
All of this time, all we've been through, still no love